watch for Scott, not you.
What?
Oh. Well, Scott, it's been a day.
Yep.
I literally woke up with, I don't know, blinking eyes, confused about a conversation that we were going on in our group chat to find out that the entire set was spoiled.
Yes.
So, it's been a fun one. There's been a lot going on. And we do have a fair amount to talk about today, right?
Sure.
I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot for sure. What's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for hanging out in chat. So, yeah, I mean, I don't. What was that? Oh yeah. I don't know about you, but like, I wasn't expecting the whole set to be dropped at like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. Like that wasn't on my to-do list.
I mean, I thought the NDA that the people that went to Berlin had was more about like the starter deck stuff, which a lot of that did come out today. And maybe some like announcement type things, but not like companion app. And especially given that like yesterday we had so many content creators spoiling cards that I thought like that would just continue.
Yeah.
I guess it kind of explains why they all had to drop their spoilers yesterday, which we usually don't see. I mean, the way that we've done them in the past for other games is usually one a day.
Yeah.
Per person. So I guess there was obviously a reason why they all had to drop them that day, because I'm sure like the app had to get approved by, especially through like Apple. That always takes forever. So I'm sure that was part of like what went down.
Yeah, I mean, the app is really cool. If anyone's listening, haven't checked it out yet, I believe it's just the Disney Lorcana companion app, or Lorcana TCG is what it's called, I believe. It's on both platforms now. Really sweet. It's kind of just like a straight up all-in-one platform. Has deck lists, has all the cards. You know, it really covers just about everything I can think of. The rules, FAQ, things like that. I imagine they'll keep adding to it. That's probably where we might even get like large announcements or something like that.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere that they had plans to do more with it or something like that. So
yeah, it's a pretty great app to start. You know, like when I really started going through it and looking at everything it was offering, I was like, wow, there's a lot to this. It was definitely something I was shocked about to see, you know, it come out this far in advance for the game. You know, they could have just as easily released this, you know, like on launch day or something like that. So it's cool that we got it so early. The puppies are here.
Family's here. He misses me because I was gone last week.
I know. Yeah, we're not sipping pina coladas anymore.
No.
But yeah, it was really cool for that. It was really funny to me because, what's up, Nick? How you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. I like so we were talking this morning, and you and Tata were having this conversation. I'm just like half awake, and Tata's like, "Hey, here's a link to the app," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Let me just download and check it out." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, all the cards are here." Like, how did I miss this conversation? So it was definitely funny. But yeah, we got all the cards today, which is cool. What were just like general first impressions of like as you were going through? Like, what was the first card that you probably hit that you were like, wow, this is it caught your eye?
I mean, I just went alphabetical. So the first thing I saw was the Cinderella, and I was like, oh, cool, there is a Cinderella.
Yeah.
And then I won't lie, it took me a while to figure out how to turn the foil on and turn the foil off for some stupid reason. I don't know what I was doing wrong. I know now it's like really easy. I don't know, you just push the button, but for some reason I was trying to slide it and like whatever. I thought that was really cool.
What I had figured out later is that if you click on it, it actually like pops it up, so it gets rid of the extra spirals. And I was like, oh, cool, I don't have to look at this crap, so I can like take actual good screenshots of this.
Yeah, so that's really where I started, and then I just kind of went down from there.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was only like 4 Amber cards. I just went in order.
Yeah.
I was walking the dogs at the time, so I just went in order.
What was really funny for me is like I like literally went through the whole thing and I just kept going. I just kept swiping, you know, and then like next thing I know, I'm like in Amethyst again. I'm like, wait a minute, I already looked all of them. It's like, all right, whatever. Who knows? So aside from that, Lurkana week was like Lurkana 30 hours, I guess, right? Like, and I'm sure we're gonna get more news and more like interviews and stuff like that, but I don't know. For me, it's not like disappointment, but I feel like they let this like the wind out of the sail. You know, like it's like you could have really drugged this out. This could have came out on like Friday or Saturday. I think it would have even been cooler if they would have been able to like not even tell anybody about it and just like send it to the App Store and see if someone found it. That actually would have been kind of cool in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to see the new cards. So I mean, once you have them, then you kind of like do your own thing.
Yeah,
and like you're not a captive audience anymore. That's the thing. So like interviews with Ryan Miller, okay, sure. If I have time, I'll get to it. But like,
like the sad thing is they're way more likely to just be background noise now. You know, where it's like if they did have this interview and there was like spoilers involved, like I would have been, you know, glued to the screen, looking at it, checking it out, like, oh, okay, like this is cool. We got a little interview. I can listen. I can pay attention, and then, you know, oh, I didn't even know you could do that, Scott. How about you? Look at you hitting the buttons.
I have the power too.
Scott has the power. But yeah, Clayton. Once I started looking at cards, that was the end of my day. And then for me, I got the genie, and that's when I was like, oh, this card's awesome. I'm gonna get out of bed now because there's work to be done. Scott and I talk very often on the phone. You know, definitely sometimes a couple times a day. It is very rare for Scott and I to talk at like 7:30 in the morning on the phone.
Yeah,
it's not common.
I had to get stuff. I had to figure out where to put my efforts. You know.
Right. Which is good because, you know, we developed our own plan. We know what our goals were. We accomplished it. If you haven't seen it after the stream, you're done hanging out, check out the video that we released about 90 minutes ago. That was our project for the day. It's kind of like 11 tips on basically how to start deck building, with the full set now and the different packages and things like that. So it was fun. It was a lot, but hey, you know, we're here now and we're having a lot of fun. And what we wanted to do to start, we're going to get into probably a lot of stuff. If there's any type of chat interaction tonight, we're probably going to be involved. I'm in for like a super chill night. Like I'm not worried about being strict or anything like that by any means, because it's been a busy few days for me. Before we do, I do want to just give a shout out to everyone I've already talked with Battle of the Inks. All of those footages will be coming in the next few days. There will be a lot less editing now, so it'll just be kind of the interview and it'll be, you know, really super chill for us. But, shout out to Jacob from Ready, Set, Draw. Shout out to Lorcana Dav for Steel, sure, for Cable, and Be Our Guest. And then Jarrett. I think that's everybody. And then after I'm done streaming tonight, we're not going to bed. We are recording with Stephanie from the Illuminateer. So been a fun couple days, been a lot of fun. I can't wait to get you guys all of those conversations. And I promise there'll be more. They'll just be like next week sometime now. We have so much stuff to do, and all the content creators are already now like jam-packed and busy. So I was like, you know what? Let's let it chill, and then we'll make reservations for next week. Probably at Gen Con if we're being honest, because we're going to be there. We'll double down on our time.
Right.
But for now, we wanted to talk about the remaining cards that were released today and kind of just I don't even want to say the best, but like the ones that stuck out for whatever reason for the remaining inks. So Amber obviously had a ton of cards revealed. I think there was only like 4 left, maybe 5. It was a very low number of cards.
Really low, yeah.
But these were the 3 for me that definitely stuck out. You know, the art for You Have Forgotten Me, Cinderella, and Pumbaa, probably all iconic moments or characters here that it's cool to finally see them in the game. Scott, what are your initial thoughts for You Have Forgotten Me?
So I think in World of Warcraft, there was a similar card that cost 4. It might have cost 3. I don't remember, but like,
it was a priest card. It cost 3.
Okay. So I would say in this game, that's the
Mental
threshold.
anguish. Oh
Okay.
man, I'm deep diving right now.
Um, I think this is the fair threshold to where you want to have discard, because I think discard is not fun for players. But it is a powerful ability, especially in a game where you're like hand. I mean, it's powerful in any game, um, because always some part of your hand is always determining how many resources you're able to use. So I would say if you can afford to take off turn 4 in Amber deck, this is a powerful ability. I just don't think that I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, like if this card was a song, it would be unbelievable, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. When I first read it, I was just like, it's not a song. Bummer.
Yeah, I thought it was better this morning than I do now. It's just too important of a turn to take off. But I mean, if you can stall out the board or whatever, and then like even play it later to where, I mean, your opponent is constantly likely going to have more dwindling cards in their hand. Like, so you might just be able to strip out like two. You're going to get value out of this card regardless. It's just whether or not you can afford to take the turn off. So like in control on control matchups, it's obviously really good.
Right.
So, and because it's inkable, like that's the perfect type of card that I want for this type of situation. So it may see play as like a 1 or 2 of in those decks, just because it is inkable and you'll always just ink it if you are not playing like a control mirror. So
yeah, like I think on the play it's definitely better.
Sure.
So I kind of looked at it like that. Like, how much can I really get out of my opponent's hand early on now with with Sudden Chill and with this, with Blinn, and it's probably just not enough to warrant, like playing all of those things.
Yeah, I don't think I would.
If this card was a song, I think it would have definitely been warranted, just because like now you could be, on your turn 4, just like tap, make you discard 2 cards, advance my board. And I think it would have been really powerful. I think that like there are some tempo and like control decks that are going to be really punished by this.
Yeah, exactly.
So like if they're holding certain cards like a New World, or even like Rockstar Stitch, like
sure,
those cards that are like being held to like kind of recover and recoup. If you can hit those cards because that's all they got left, well, they're in a bad spot. Like literally on turn 4, the game might just be flat over. So I don't know. There might be room for it. What about Cinderella here? It's pretty base, base Cinderella, right? Like we didn't get the whole ball or anything like that. So this is what we got. This is what we got.
First act Cinderella, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah, first act. Yeah.
She's decent stats. Singer 5 is like kind of worthless in my opinion, considering she already costs 4. I mean, 5 is important to get to important songs, but I don't think that's just a weird ability on her. I think the heal is powerful. I think being a 2/5 and being able to heal herself is really powerful.
Yeah.
But like if you use that, then you're not doing anything with her.
Right.
So like, I mean, I think she's a really good princess in the Moana deck. If that ever comes around, like she's able to like heal Moana, heal herself, heal like aerials and things like that. So like, I think she could definitely she's definitely like a key part of that list. Yeah. And I think you're reaching a critical mass between her and Rapunzel of like how much healing you can get. But I mean, she's not going to be doing much, which is the problem. So I mean, we have to see if the princess deck is improved at all with a bunch of these cards. And if it is, I think she's going to be like pretty good there, because you just have these willpowers that are just gigantic, and she's able to like between her and Jasmine and like Rapunzel and like like you just have guys with like girls, I guess, with like giant willpower, and she can really help keep them all around.
Yeah, I just find it really hard. Like the times you're gonna use the ability versus like just luring is weird. But like with Moana, there is synergy because you get to quest for the turn, ready her, and then just then repair people, which is great because explicitly when you can like send in and challenge after the Moana and like follow up with Rapunzel, follow up with this, follow up with Jasmine. There might be a lot of like really annoying lines of play there. So we'll have to see. All right, but like seriously, what about Pumbaa?
I think you just wanted to put Pumbaa on here because you didn't want to put Sneed on here.
Yes, that's for sure, because I'm way more of a Pumbaa enthusiast than I am a Smee enthusiast. Neither of them do anything, and neither of them are very good.
No, agreed.
But I was happy to see Pumbaa, so there is
There you
that.
go.
All right, so we don't need to spend any time on him. Let's be real. Let's talk about some real good cards, though. Well, some of them are really good. I'm not going to oversell everything here. But you're a big fan of the Queen, right? So tell me what you really like about the Queen and the ability of I summon thee.
She draws cards, and that's really good. The fact that she only has one lore means you're not even really tempted to do anything else other than use her draw ability, which is important.
Yeah.
But it's a powerful effect that your opponent's going to want to get off the board, which means so you play her on 5. Obviously, she doesn't have like rush or anything like that. So you're playing her over probably a card that has a come into play ability or something like that. That's fine. So, I mean, of course, she's vulnerable to any other like straight 5-cost removal that anybody else is. But assuming she survives all that, then on 6, she exerts to draw a card, and then they are going to want to get her off the board, which means they're going to have to run one or multiple cards into her. And I think on curve, there isn't even much that really takes her out on curve, especially if you're going first. So, like, she's probably going to, like, just built in get you a 2-for-1. And you don't really care about, like, her taking damage or whatever, because she's just there to draw you a card. So, like, next turn, you just exert her again, and she draws you a card. Like, you're not really that concerned about that, like, that she stays around and does anything else. Like, she does her job, and that's all that really matters. Like, she draws a card by herself cheaper than Magic Mirror would. Yep. So, like, as soon as you draw a card, take up a card or two from your opponent, like, she's just an automatic card advantage engine. So.
Yeah, I think that's what I really like. I was going to point out this week, they just like, I don't know, murdered all hope for Magic Mirror, right? Like,
sure.
It's just like, you got Cauldron, and then you got this. I'm just like, yeah, you're just not going to play that card. Like,
yeah,
it's a shame. It's a shame. Like, what are you going to do? So Dr. Facilier here, this is a 3 of in the starter deck, in case no one thought that.
Only a 1 of in the starter deck, I think.
I think I'm pretty sure it's a 3 of. I'll double check in a moment here.
Yeah.
But this guy has Shift 5 on a 7-cost uninkable. He's a 4/5. He's got 3 lore. And he has this sweet ability of whenever one of your other characters is banished in a challenge, you return to your hand. So, like, this guy makes Marshmallow look real bad, right? like, why am I ever going to play Marshmallow if I can play this dude that just, like, makes everything Marshmallow? I don't get it. Can't hear you, Scott. Scott, we can't hear you. Sorry, guys. There you go. Can we hear you now? Did you mute yourself? What'd you do?
I might have muted myself. Am I good?
You're good now. Yeah, I can hear you
now. So you can either play when you have other characters on board, and then his ability is like right away, like for the characters that are in play. So, or if he can survive a turn, the turn that he would be acting, so like turn 8, for example, Amethyst has so many rush characters that you can just run them in your opponent's guys and they come right back to your hand.
Awesome.
So
sounds awesome.
Like with Zeus and Rafiki, I think he's just a card advantage engine.
Yeah.
It's like getting back removal.
Yeah.
Clearly, it doesn't help you against like against evasives, but I think they're not as good as they were a few weeks ago. So like,
yeah, but you still have like, I mean, you have to play them, but you have like the Jetsam and Flotsam.
Yeah,
you could try, Yeah.
So like, does he need to survive a turn? Probably, to make full use out of him. But like, you could say that about any big character. I don't like the other Dr. Facilities, so like, I don't think his shift is going to be all that relevant. Like, I really don't want to play the 2.
Yeah. Shout out to Clayton. He did point out that I got the names reversed in the list. So yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think you want to play the 2-drop or the 3-drop one in order to shift into him. I think you basically just want to be like, here you go, deal with it, because you've already had all this other stuff in play.
Yeah.
And it's really powerful. So, I mean, I definitely think he's worth the uninkable nature, especially having 3 lore.
Yeah.
Just the combos with Zeus and Rafiki, I really like.
Yeah, I love this dude. He's great. The one thing I will mention is what I liked when I think of Dr. Facilier, like his art in the bad 3-cost one is like that's my vision of him. So I was like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, like that's cool. This is like that's where I picture him. And then like I read it and I got a little excited because I thought he was gonna allow you to quote scry for all my magic friends before you got to complete your song, but that's not the case. So since that's not the case, then I don't really like that guy as much anymore. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't think we're gonna play that guy. But it is notable that a 2/4 for 3 is a good stat curve. So you can't say I can't say I'm never gonna play him. I just find it right now that he's obviously way worse than like Maleficent, at least in my opinion right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we finally got the big bad. I will say that her art is phenomenal. Um, but for 7 cost, uninkable, 2 strength, 8 willpower, 3 lore, and then it's too easy. When you play this character, each opponent loses 1 lore, and you draw 1 card for each lore this way. So while this is incredible in multiplayer, this is like just a terribly bad Aladdin, right? Like,
It's just a terribly bad, like, comes into play and draws you a card and doesn't do anything
yeah,
else. Like,
yeah,
so
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
it's incredible in multiplayer. There's
yeah, yeah.
there's no debate. Like, but yeah, like just even the 2 cards side by side right now, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm gonna take the doctor every single time.
I mean, if she was like a 4/8,
Yeah, why
then
why the 2 strength? Like
yeah,
it's so
yeah,
weird.
yeah. It's just bad.
There's 7 uninkable, the 2 strength, like it's like
Like I
it
don't.
must,
I think you could have. I think you could have made either of the other 2 cards the legendary, and it would have been just as. It might not have been as iconic. I don't know,
right.
but like I think if you made the queen the legendary, I think people would be more hyped.
Yeah.
But I don't. This is like not a legendary to me. Like this is just not unique and not good. So
Yeah, I mean, not all legendaries are going to be good,
no,
like Gone to, but like, this is another one where I don't know. It's gonna be great like when you open your legendary and your booster pack, but then you'll be like, oh, I think I low rolled. Damn it.
yeah, I agree.
All right, so let's talk about my favorite. Oh my god, I love this art. I can't like seriously, like, guys. I don't think I can express how much I love this genie art. Like the moment I saw it, I'm like, dude, this is so good, so much fun, so interesting, and I was like, oh, I'm so pumped. But just so we can be clear here, he is an 8 cost uninkable, which is pricey, 3 strength, 5 willpower, 3 lore. He has shift 6. He's evasive, and then he has the ability of phenomenal cosmic power, which is a ridiculous name. And it's whenever this character quest, you may play an action of 5 costs or less for free. So like while of course this guy has 3 strength and 5 willpower and an 8 cost uninkable card, he might have a lot of value. Like when you play him for 6, you might play him and action for 5. So I don't know. I'm excited about this guy.
I'm not.
Hater.
Emerald has no card draw engines, so I just don't see how you're gonna have big enough actions in your hand at that stage of the game to make him like worth it. And you basically have to play the 2 cost genie in order to make it worth it because you're not going to shift him.
No, I'm not going to play that card.
So
play that card.
So I mean, you're gonna play this guy for 8 then on Inkable, and then like what?
I mean, you might play him over Bounce Genie. It's all right. If you play this guy on 7, it's not the end of the world. I think.
I don't think so.
You played Bounce Genie on 6, shift on this on 7. Depending on what we're doing with our actions, like where we're at, but like obviously, in my opinion, the ideal strategy for this particular genie would be with Steel, so we can just a whole new world after playing him, and then have all the value. But I understand that might be a little bit Christmas land, but that's probably where I would start. I don't know.
I just think after playing him, you're gonna, unless you shift him, which I don't know that you can, unless you're shifting on the 2-drop one. Like I don't. Whatever action you could play for free is probably going to be one of the only cards in your hand. So like you could just play it as your whenever he's right. Like again, without shifting. Like so, like his ink dries on after you play him on 8 and like on 9. Like you're probably only going to have one action. So like,
Sure,
you
but what
can
if you can shift in, swing, gain 3 lore, and then Dragon's Fire?
I
Like,
mean, yeah,
and or like Mother's Knows Best, like whatever it is. It doesn't have to be 5, right? But like, if you can shift him, gain 3 lore, and and hit a card, hit a board, whatever you want to do. I don't know. I still think there's a lot of value in that.
there's a lot of value. I just don't. I just think it's a lot to ask, and to have those cards in your hand all when you play them. That's all. So
yeah, I'm with Nick here. I was shouting for a 10 cost like the whole time, but Belle, when we get to her, she's a 10 cost. Let's be real. It's okay. So Dr. Facilier's cards is a 2 cost uninkable item. Has the ability of the cards will tell, exert this. You pay 1 less for the next action you play this turn. Do you think this card's good?
no.
Okay. I don't know how I feel about it, if I'm being honest. Like, I think the ability is good. I just don't know how worth it is. In general, most of your best actions are songs, and we're playing them for free already.
Right.
So right now, I don't know that this is going to be very good. It has evergreen ability, so might be better in Chapter 2. Oh, we'll see.
Not a fan.
Cool. 5 cost, uninkable, steal from the rich action. When one of your characters quests this turn, each opponent loses a lore.
I do like this card.
Yeah. This is good, right? I mean, this is great. Another card for incredible in multiplayer. This card's nuts.
Yeah. I mean, you can have a pretty good swing, like even without, like, if you have 2 guys in play, like you're basically like you're basically Aladining in a way.
Yeah.
Not taking out a guy, and for a decent cost. I think it goes right into the theme of like what Emerald's trying to do by not allowing people to quest. So, this allows them to not only not allow them to quest, but to take the lore away.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's fine. I just don't know if there's room for an uninkable to run it that much. I mean, you can't make this like a song or anything like that. I mean, I think if you did, it'd be kind of interesting because you'd have to exert a guy to even play it for free anyway. So you'd kind of be losing some value out of it. I think it would probably be a more interesting card if it was a song because it actually puts decisions in play. Now it's kind of just like, it's almost like, it's like direct damage basically. Like you're just taking lore away from
that's effectively what it is for sure.
But it also limits you, like, the turn you play it, you basically have to quest with all your guys. Like, there's no doubt about that. But at least they have some guys that's all they want to do.
Right.
So it's not that big of a deal. But it's going to come down to how many guys can you keep in play and, like, what value you can get out of that. I think if you...
I mean, in like the green, red, ruby, emerald, like evasive deck, like you got guys sticking around. So you might just be okay with going like, all right, well, I'm going to turn the number and tides a little bit here and just be like, no, I'm just going to quest with 3 dudes and you're going to lose 3 lore. And that might be enough to like just win a game.
You have to get 3 guys out of it. And I don't know that you're going to be able to. So
I think it'll definitely be situational, but right now you have enough evasives to like try and get around that. And it's I also think it's at a sweet spot in cost. If this cost like 6, I think it would be like almost unplayable. So at 5, you're kind of like in that in between moment where you're like, okay, I'm not too concerned with like be prepared yet. And I'm most of my evasive guys are getting away from grab your sword. So like you should be able in the evasive decks to like have these dudes in play to get the full effect out of this. So it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
To confirm, isn't taking away lore from the opponent closer to life gain than damage?
Probably.
Yeah, it's really funny. We had a conversation about this a little bit, and I think that's a fair assessment. And it's something that I want to talk about when we're done with this card, just like that I'll touch back on. So thanks for the comment, Nick. I'm going to touch back on this later, though. All right, so we got the Ruby cards. I think you're kind of excited for like at least a couple of these, aren't you?
Just yeah, kind of. I mean, one of them's really good, and one of them might maybe good. I don't know.
All right, talk to me about Maui.
He's really big, has rush, and is inkable.
So like this guy is like 100 times better than Gaston, right?
I actually like Gaston better than most people.
Okay, sure.
But actually, like, these are the turns that I usually like Gaston, like the mid game turns.
Right.
And I mean, he's inkable, he has rush, and he has great stats. I
He
don't
is
know, like,
inkable and he has rush. Like
yeah.
that combination is already hard to find.
So at that point, I don't care how much lore he has. Like, I get that. Like, I mean, he's probably gonna take out one of your opponent's cards, and then he's gonna be around to take out more of your opponent's cards, and really can't like do anything. But like, your opponent can't just exert other guys either, or else he's just gonna take them out, and you don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, so for the same cost as Dragonfire, you're getting basically like, I can't imagine this isn't a 2-for-1 like all the time. Like I
I
don't
mean,
understand how this
even
isn't
when it's
automatically
not, even when it's not at 5 cost, it's inkable and it definitely can trade up as well.
Oh
So
yeah,
like
yeah, totally.
even at that cost, like even if like say if there's a world where it's a 1-for-1 trade, like this trades up to a lot of higher cost characters.
Yeah.
I mean, this is another card. Like this eats Maleficent, Unthinkable alive. Like, you know, like just says goodbye, see you later. And yeah, I think this is it's such a Ruby card, which is what I love about it. Because I don't think that Ruby needed this character.
No.
like giving them a 6 cost or a 5 cost rush character that's inkable is like, oof, man, that's really good for them.
Yeah, I would just look at it more like a action
he's
removal than a character, but it's fine.
It's the same kind of vein as Rafiki and his Zeus. Like, yeah, both of those cards can quest when necessary, but you're almost always using them to just come in and challenge and be happy that you got whatever you got out of them. The same thing for this guy. Peter Pan, he's a lot worse, right? Like 3 cost, uninkable with rush, 1 lore. He's 3/2. He's not good. We're gonna move on. So what about Shield of Virtue here? 1 cost, inkable, has the ability of fireproof. 3, exert this and 3 resources. I don't know if I haven't really experienced. Is this the first one that you have to exert and pay resources for? No, it's not, right?
Maybe?
I don't know, but it looks really weird on the text to me.
Yeah,
you know, like it just looks like I should pay 3 and then exert, not exert and then I don't know, whatever.
Why
it's
is
ready chosen character.
Like arrow? Like why is it a dash? Like that's just annoying.
Yeah, I don't get that either. But it's ready chosen character and they can't quest for the rest of the term. So for a 1 cost that stays in play, it's Fan the Flames like on a stick, but you got to pay 3 for it.
Yeah.
Is this card good?
I wish the numbers were reversed.
Sure.
But I don't know if you're going to have a lot of turns where you actually have 3 extra resources. But I'm not positive that that's not going to happen in certain situations. So like I'd like to try this. I mean, obviously it has the combo potential with like, you know, your Aladdins and your Mulans and things like that.
Even the Maui for what it's worth.
Right. But I think it's not bad. And I think it can, but I don't know that, like, I'd rather just play the LeFou, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're getting to the point where there's just a lot of these abilities. So
Magic Mirror doesn't exert. Beast Mirror does.
No, Magic Mirror does too.
Magic Mirror exerts?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought for some reason you just pay for and draw a card.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So I don't know. I think it has potential but it might just be too expensive. But I would like to try it out and see if there's characters that it works with.
Yeah. I think I'm on board with you. So Sapphire. We got a lot of cool Sapphire cards today, which I guess was anticipated, right? Like they had to finally get some cool stuff.
They needed the most cards going into the day.
Yeah.
To be real.
So I'm gonna phone a friend real quick. Hey Kai, can you come help out? Look at that. We're gonna phone a friend. All right. So how do we properly say our 2-cost friend's name?
Grandma Tala.
Grandma Tala. So I was gonna say it right, but we phoned a friend.
It's Facilier.
Facilier. Okay, my bad. What about the lobster crab thing from Moana? How do you say his name?
Tamatoa.
Tamatoa. I think I actually said that right today. I'm pretty proud of myself.
There you go.
So Grandma Tala this card's wonderful. I like, just so we're clear. Yeah. But she's inkable. She's a 1/1. She's got 1 lore who gives a crap, but she has this ability of I will be there or I will be with you. And when this character is banished, not when it's challenged, not when you challenge, not when your opponent challenges it, like when this character is banished, you may put this into your Inkwell face down and exert it. This card is awesome.
Yeah, she can sing one jump ahead, which is just perfect.
Awesome. This
Yeah.
card is awesome.
Yeah, I like this card a lot.
I could honestly it almost made me laugh in a way to think like, man, one jump ahead is like uninkable card, and this card isn't. I'm just like, man, like they don't feel. I don't know. I was really excited to read this card. Like there was a couple cards that Sapphire got, and they needed all of them. But like once you really start going through the flow of like everything they got today, you're like, man, these are some really, really good cards for them.
Yeah, I like this card a lot.
Yeah. So what about the wonderful art here on Hades, which is our Dreamborn character? He's a 7-cost uninkable, 3 willpower, 6 strength. I'm sorry, opposite for stats here, guys. 3 strength, 6 willpower, 2 lore, and then he has the ability of is there a downside to this, which is a wonderful name. When you play this character, you may exert chosen opposing character, or you may put chosen opposing character into their owner's face down. I totally fucking butchered that one, guys.
Let it go.
Jesus.
Just say let it go when he comes.
It is. Is there downside to this? No, it's let it go.
Let it go when he comes into play.
It's been a long day, guys. All right, seriously. Yeah, definitely with you, Nick. Hades is awesome. Yes, Sapphire is feeling way stronger after today, and yes, just add Sapphire ramp, all the true things. So, is this guy's good, right?
Yeah, he's 2 for
Like
2
he's
less
Maleficent
for
for
2 less
7, but he's
Yeah.
uninkable, right?
but they get the ink, and he has
Sure.
he has worse stats.
Yeah.
But
he's
basically,
still-
yes. But basically, yes.
He's pretty good. I don't know. I like.
Yeah, but you can run both in the same deck. So like he's really good.
Yeah. Oh my god. Jesus.
Yeah.
Welcome to the stream, guys. Dan didn't even think about that line of plays today.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's
he's
just
worth.
have,
worth
let's just
being
have Be
uninkable.
Prepared, Hades, Maleficent, all in the same deck
Yeah.
with Let It Goes and Dragonfires. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have fun, and you are not.
Yeah. Yep.
So what about Fishborn Quill? 3-cost thinkable item. Go ahead and sign, which is exert this. Put any card from your hand into your inkwell face down.
So what I really like about this card is you can put your uninkables into the inkwell.
Put any card from your hand. Yeah. Yes, you can. Yeah.
So
That's pretty good.
all the like one jump ahead and Detective Mickey are the same thing. So
Yeah.
like there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like on theme to be able to do that. But the one thing that Sapphire by itself doesn't, until Hades, doesn't really suffer from. Well, I guess it does from having all the ramp cards. So like when you reach a point where all you're drawing is like more ramp cards, instead of just like playing them, you can just exert the quill and play them that way. And because the quill is inkable,
Yeah.
I think it's just like a subtle, powerful way of like getting around the uninkable thing.
Yep.
And I think we've reached a point to where playing the ramp cards is the equivalent. Like think of it like drawing cards. So like think of one jump ahead as pay 2, draw a card, because you're basically a lot of the cards you draw, you're going to want to ink.
Right.
So I've started to look at it that way. Like Detective Mickey is a 1/3 draw card. Now that's obviously worse than Maleficent, worse than Ariel, like whatever, but it's still, that's what it does.
Right.
With upside, it's draw a card with upside because you're also ramping. So if you do draw a bunch of uninkables, or you have a lot of card draw, like you're playing with Amethyst or other cards that draw your cards, you are actually able to ramp to the point. But a lot of times when I play Sapphire, like I'm not even necessarily playing an ink every turn because I'm using those ramp cards as my ink for the turn.
Right.
And just like not playing the other one. But I have the ability to, if I need to play Hades, or if I need to play like whatever, like King Triton at certain times and things like that, like I had that ability.
Yeah.
So this just adds to that and gives you use out of those uninkables without actually costing you resources.
Yeah.
Costing you ink to do it. So I hope there's room in the deck to play this card. I'm not sure how many you're going to want to wind up playing. Probably a decent amount because they are inkable.
Yeah.
But depending on what you pair it with, especially if you pair it with traditional like Ruby ramp, I think this is really like a pretty powerful effect because of what you can do with the uninkables.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree. I think it's a really powerful card. I didn't even, once again, guys, we had a lot of stuff going on today. And I didn't walk away from my computer until like 6:30 p.m. tonight after being there all day. So I didn't get to process all of these informations yet. This is a good conversation for me to have. But yeah, this is a sweet card. I'm excited because all three of these cards are phenomenal and they're definitely useful. If you're hanging out and you haven't hit that like button, hit me with it, guys. Hit me with the like button. But we do have one final color here.
Sort of.
And I'm going to start in reverse order because I want to talk about Plasma Blaster. All right. The Plasma Blaster is the 3-cost uninkable item for steel, and it has the ability of Quick Shot, which is exert this, pay 2 resources, and deal 1 damage to chosen character. So Scott, we're gonna go right, and we're gonna give you the floor. You're gonna tell me why Plasma Blaster is the best card in the set.
If it was inkable, it would be playable. But it's not inkable, so it's not playable.
Like, come on, guys.
It's not horrendous.
No.
It gives you something to do with unused resources, but because it's uninkable, it's just unplayable.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool, like, I like that it's in the game. Like, I love that, like, they're referencing it and everything like that. And it's just like, I can't believe the amount of effort I have to go through to, like, do a damage as an uninkable. Yeah, whatever. We'll go back to Zimba here. How many Zimbas do we have? I'm going to purposely say it wrong now because my wife is trying to correct me.
Four. I think we have 4. 3 steel and one amber.
Yeah. So 5 cost uninkable, 3 strength, 5 willpower, 2 lore. And I know what I have to do. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you gain 1 lore.
So this is where the shield type effects come into play.
Yeah.
So if he can banish 2 characters in a turn, of course,
yeah.
Like your game. So I think one of the most important things one of the most important decisions you have to make every single turn is, do I want to quest or do I want to challenge?
Right.
And cards like this and the next card are like they allow you to do both. Like to not have downside of choosing to challenge.
Right.
You're still gaining lore. And so to me, like, it's a slam dunk for this ability. I don't like the fact that he's uninkable. Steel just has 2 uninkable. But at least it's in a color that does a lot of damage. He can usually just finish them off. So I don't really care that he only has 3 strength. I like that he has better willpower. He's a little understated and uninkable for my tastes. But I like the fact that they have these abilities because you don't have to make that decision. And that's what I'm a big fan of.
Yeah. I can get behind that. So we have
kind of like Aladdin, but not as good.
Right. So now we have Tika.
You saw the movie. I haven't seen the movie.
Taka. Okay. So we have Taka, who's a 6-cost inkable, 5 strength, 5 willpower, 2 lore with Seek the Heart. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you gain 2 lore. So Scott, just so we're in the same conversation here, right? Like seriously, this Zimba is uninkable.
Yeah,
and he costs 1 less with less strength and gets you 1 lore. This guy is inkable with more strength and he gets you 2 lore.
No, well, yeah, exactly.
Am I missing something? Like,
no, he's a lot. I mean, I think is it she?
She. Yeah,
I think it's she.
Yeah.
I mean, one of them has the gold symbol at the bottom, and one of them's an uncommon.
All right. So. You got me. All right. One of them had to be better than Gantu. Fine.
Yes. I mean, this is rarity power creep at its best when you put these cards next to each other.
Yeah. Literally. Which is why I did this. Well, actually, you did this. Good job.
Yeah. But I actually think this card's really good because it is inkable. Again, it gives you that. It helps you make that decision point to where if she banishes something in a challenge instead of questing, you still get the lore.
Right.
So even if you look at her like, I'm not saying it's the same thing, but like if you compare her to like that Maui card, you want to be using her to challenge and you still are advancing your win condition.
Right.
So it's very similar to that. I think it's a very good card.
Yeah, this was one of the ones today that like when I was going through and like really kind of my first and second run through the cards, and I think I did it 3 times, where I like basically read them all once. This card every single time I read it, I'm like, yes, this card's pretty good. Like you can't really
it's
hate
solid.
on this
I mean,
one.
Steel has a ton of uninkables.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. So the fact that you get like a inkable 6 cost that just does something is great.
Yeah.
And it's even like it's like awkwardly backup to like grab your sword and Tinkerbell and things like that because
Yeah.
a lot of your strategy is to like, you know, get hit early and just like kind of recover later. Like this is the same thing. It's like, okay, like I'm just gonna now use my like mid game, kind of like end game really to be still like I'm still gonna advance my board. I'm still gonna take all your stuff away, but I'm also now gonna gain 2 lore every time I get to do this. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. So I'm not saying they were the best cards of the bunch today, but they were like the cards that I think I did the first 3 and you did the second 3 is how that went out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anything else that came out today that you want to touch on?
That came out today? No.
No.
I mean, I'm trying to think if there was anything else at all, really. No, everything else is kind of vanilla or unimpressive to me.
Yeah, I agree. So with that, Scott and I have kind of been mostly quiet about the conversation around the allocation. And just so, you know, we can, you know, first and foremost, and like, you know, we'll go to, we'll get up close and personal for this one.
Full screen this one.
Yeah, right. We'll full screen with this because like, I'm not worried, right? Like, I'm not worried. I would be lying if I said I wasn't upset because, of course, I would always like to have more product sooner. But I'm not worried about the allocations. We're gonna get cards. It might not be it. All right, it won't be on the 18th. More than likely, it's very much likely to be on the 1st, and then after the 1st. But like you know, we have heard a lot of stories about allocations. You know, I've talked to several good friends, sources that I have that are in the business that have been. No, she's laughing at me.
No, I'm laughing at Rashid's comment.
Oh, Rashid, what do we got? Having a little, yeah, a little heart to heart, right? Heart to heart, guys. Like seriously, let's have it, right? Let's have this heart to heart. No, but seriously, so Scott and I have been around card games for forever, and we've made relationships over the years. So I've had conversations with different distributors and high end, people that are buying way more cases than I could ever imagine, and they were all really let down. So like when they're all really let down, when you have Star City Games tweeting out that they're let down and like literally basically everything else under the sun, I had still to right now have not heard a single store or anything at all get more than 24 boxes. So like to simplify that, that's 6 cases. And if it were up to me and Scott right now, we would buy 12 cases yesterday if it were possible. So when you start hearing that a single store is only getting 6 cases, period, it's alarming. Go ahead, Scott.
I mean, to me, the game gets released on September 1st. I think getting any product before September 1st was always a pipe dream. Any store I've talked to locally has already told me either we're not taking pre-orders or I'm not taking pre-orders until somebody told me today I'm not taking pre-orders until I have the product in hand. And I'm like, when are you going to have the product in hand?
Yeah.
On August 18th, because
that's not
you're
a pre-order.
2 hours away from me. So like, I need to know what I'm supposed to do on that day. Am I just supposed to drive to you when you open and pray? Like what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
So like anything I get on August 18th to me is icing on the cake as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Seeing the news today that all these different types of big box stores, if you saw my tweet about a Hot Topic, and GameStop and a couple other ones that were on there. I don't remember which ones. Like ones that I wasn't expecting. So I was expecting Target, Walmart, Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, there's a really long list.
Oh, Disney stores too. So like I'm not worried about it because I feel bad for the game stores. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I feel bad for their ability to have that 2 weeks to cultivate
Community.
players and be the source for card games.
Right.
But what I can tell you is the same exact thing happened. The same exact thing happened when Magic came out. I'll really date myself.
Okay. We've been there. We've done that. It's okay.
The same exact thing happened when WoW came out. I remember showing up to some random comic store and being happy that they had 2 boxes and they just let me buy 2 boxes of HOA. So like, and then a second wave came out and like, then it was like oversaturated.
Right.
So as far as I'm concerned, the game for me doesn't release until September 1st. Anything I get before that, not counting Gen Con, like not counting like the pre-release stuff, like anything I get before September 1st is icing on the cake and is like, is great. But at the end, if you don't have product and I have product, like we can't play together unless like we just split everything in half and like we just play with it. So like even if I was at the game store and there were 10 players that wanted to play and there's only enough product from like 5 people, like you're just not going to have enough product to like keep everything going regardless. So just be like, okay, on September 1st, we'll see what happens. And if that's not enough for whatever reason, then you just wait till the next wave. If there's no events going on, all you're doing is succumbing to FOMO.
Yeah.
Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Like I understand people want this game to come out, and I don't think people have really waited. I mean, I haven't been waiting 3 years for this game to come out with bated breath. Like I really haven't, no offense.
Sure.
So like I'm waiting for another card game to play. But if there isn't enough product out there for a community to play the game, just think that the game, when that happens, that's when the game exists.
Right.
It only exists before that if you want to pay more money to get singles.
Right.
Or if you want to pay more money to get boxes. But if you're the only person that's doing that in your area, who are you playing? Like, are you just going to put them in a binder and like stare at them all day and like show them off on the internet? Like what's going to happen? So like, I understand the problems. Don't get me wrong, but I also like from a player's perspective, like there's no rush. Like there's no event on August 20th.
Right.
You know, and like if anybody running any events that's like beyond like starter decks or something like that, like they're just like they're insane. Like it can't be run. Like I don't anticipate. The one thing I will say is like I'm a little disappointed for things like that Miami Con if their distribution's that bad, because I don't think people have a product to play in any real tournament, even in October.
Right.
Like we have to hope that now the big box stores get even a second wave of product to be able to facilitate that being happening, because I still anticipate that the product on September 1st is going to sell out at the big box stores. It may not sell out like within an hour or whatever. I really think that's like crazy. Like I'm taking off on September 1st and driving from a Target or Walmart to a Barnes & Noble to a Hot Topic, like whatever. But I don't think everybody's going to do that. And especially depending on where you live, that's not going to happen. So like if you give it a couple days and then it's going to sell out from there, like don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think it matters unless there's like events. Like all you're going to do is go onto Facebook or onto social media and say, look at what I have. And you don't have it. Like that's not cool. So like, what is really happening? Like, are people going to be disappointed? Yes. Is it going to delay the ability to build a local group? Is it going to delay the ability to have any kind of play at all? Probably. I'm hoping that people get it on the first and it's not that big of a deal and people share cards and like whatever you can play. But like, oh, I have my deck with 16 legendaries and you don't? Like who cares? Like what are you doing? Like there's not like I don't understand this at all.
Like congrats on your $3,000. Yeah.
I don't understand like what you're going to be doing with the cards. So like it to me it's all FOMO until I'll give you if like you show up to a Walmart at 8:00 in the morning and there's a line out the door or something like that and you don't get it, like you'll be upset.
Get back in your car and drive to the next Walmart.
Right.
Like literally.
But like until there's a reason to use the cards, which to me is any type of organized play or any type of event, like it's not that big of a deal. Like, and that's the way it is in any card game. Like if I don't have a tournament, like I'm not gonna like I remember back in WoW, like there was a set that dropped and then Realm Championships, a big event for the year, was 2 weeks away.
Yeah, I remember
So,
this one.
So
This is a good one.
I spent $400 to get four cards. Four of the same card. I spent over $100 to get each one of them because I needed them for that Realm Championship.
Yeah, and who was in the finals?
I wouldn't have bought them.
Who was in the finals of that?
Yeah, you and I were.
There it is.
So I won that event because I got that card, but it's only because I had the event. It's not like I was like, man, this card, I love the way it looks. I'm going to go buy it right now because I need to spend $120 on it. Yeah. So, you know, like, it's FOMO until it's definitely FOMO before September 1st.
All right. I want to highlight a couple comments here.
So, you know,
it's coming from an LGS owner. The biggest downside is it's hard to foster community and build hype when an allocation is so low. It will get better, but disappointing. Nick, if you're still in the chat here hanging out, my follow-up for you, and this is all honesty, because like I've been really thinking about planning for our community and our local stuff and how we can kind of grow ours. And for me, the one thing I can think of, if you really want to get going early, and you can agree or disagree here, is ironically that starter deck feeling. It's like, okay, everyone gets a starter deck, everyone gets a booster pack in their starter deck, and then if I don't want to sell all my product on day one because I can only give a box to everybody and no one's ever going to like really be able to buy, you know, a complete set or something like that. So if I wanted to cultivate a weekly community starting on on August 18th, I think what I would do is I would have a release event. I would let everyone come in, pay $20 for a starter deck, and then say, all right, we're going to have a league, and the league is going to be like, here's your starter deck plus your booster pack. And then every week you come in, you pay an entry fee. I'm going to give you another booster pack. And then with that booster pack, you can keep growing your deck. And I think that's like one of the only ways I can really think of early where it's like, hey, how do I get people to keep coming back, to get excited about the game, to keep coming and asking me if I got new product? Like, that's the only way I can think of cultivating it early, is literally kind of handcuffing yourself in sales, which sucks. But if your goal is to build community, that's how I'm seeing how I would do it. I'd find a reason to go, okay, like, listen, on Thursday nights or whatever the hell night it is that we're going to run this weekly event, and this is how it's going to be run. You can give out 1 pack, 2 packs. It doesn't really matter as long as like whatever the cost of the event is for them to participate pays for the packs. I think that's what's important. But I am curious, like, you know, with the other owners out there, sure, but when you get only 12 starters, yeah, no, you're right. That's fair. It's an incredibly fair comment. Like, if that's all you're getting, then like it's impossible, and that's what sucks, and that's actually real disheartening, because I've heard from a couple of my contacts that they got like, I don't know, like 50 troves or 60 troves or something like that. So they have all the troves in the world to give away, but you know, they only got like 24 boxes. So yeah, troves are great. You know, they're $50. They have 8 packs. And I guess that's what a lot of people are going to be buying early if that's what's hanging out in Targets.
That's a fair deal, in my opinion.
Right. It is. And we're going to break all that down for you in a future finance video. I promise you. But like, it's just, it sucks. But it is one of those things. Like, you know, I have to agree with Scott on as in a competitive nature, there's nothing to plan for. There's no reason to go, man, I got to drop $1,000 on like 4 bells or like 4 Elsas. Like, you shouldn't do that. Like, you just shouldn't. It's a bad idea. And we have an online card store that it's already live. It's already out there, and we're telling you, don't do that. Like, that's a bad idea, because the prices are going to be ridiculous. They're going to be outrageous. And it's only be that way because of the crazy collectors out there that are never going to play a single game with these cards. They're literally going to buy it, put it in a binder, put it in a shelf, get it, or send it off to get what was it? Grade it. Yeah. That's what those people are going to do. So like, let them people spend that money. As a player, I'm not spending, you know, $150, $200 on a single card for a card that I literally might not play for 2 or 3 months in a high level competitive event. I can go to any event on any weekend here and just enjoy a starter deck tournament if that's what's going to happen. But I definitely don't need to spend $200 on an Elsa. Like, I just don't. I don't know.
I mean, you don't have to spend $500 on an Elsa. You might in the end have to spend $200 on Elsa regardless, but
that might happen. I might overall have to spend $500, but I'm not going to.
the point is, like, the local scene from a tournament perspective cannot happen until there's more product.
Yeah.
So I think that'll probably happen late September, early October. Like I said, the things I'm worried about, and the reason why I have not booked my tickets yet, is the things like that Miami Con.
Yeah.
If I literally can't make a deck, and like, if it's supposed to be some kind of like 50 to 100 person tournament, and there aren't 50 to 100 decks in the room, then there's not an event. Like, you're basically just playing a gotcha game at that point, and whoever spent the most money has the best thing. Like, that's the way I see it until the second wave of distribution. But again, like, to me, it's about needing the cards, and I mean, like, for an event or for something, not I need them like FOMO.
Right.
That's my point. So
yeah, and like I said, I want to play the game, right? Like, I can't wait to play the game. I can't wait to get the small amount of product that we're gonna get already. But it's like, if we can't get all that we need, if we can't get enough to, like, you know, whatever the sum total number is going to be for like a play set of cards, which is,
it's a minimum 6 cases.
I was thinking 6 cases.
Yeah, to get 4 of each
6
legendary,
cases to get 4 very
perfect distribution. With perfect distribution, without
It's
buying
6.
singles, it's 6 cases. That's 24 boxes. So that's not happening regardless.
Like 20. Wait, what?
Yeah,
it's that. You think it's that much? I'm thinking like 3 cases. You think it's 6?
If my assumption is 2 legendaries per box,
yeah,
12 legendaries.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Well, that's like that's a commitment. So you're definitely not spending, like, you know, I've seen the MSRP things nonstop, right? Like, you unfortunately, it's just a sad truth too. And this is another thing. Like, I'm not even going to blame local game stores on this either. It's like, there are so many people that are going to go and they're going to buy these sealed products for $150, and they're literally going to go home and they're not going to open it. They're going to go on eBay and they're going to sell it for $400. Like, that's going to happen. There's going to be people buying boxes for $400, which is ridiculous. But, like, that's unfortunately what we're going to be living with, I think, for like a week or two until big box opens. But that's why I can't stress enough. Like, if anyone opens a foil Elsa at Gen Con, congratulations, you won the lottery that weekend. And you would be silly not to sell it, because I guarantee you, if you're the first person that opens a foil Elsa and you go to eBay, you could probably put it for like almost anything you want and it might sell. It's sadly true, but that's just going to be the way it is, I think.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I don't want to go too much off on tangent, but I do have like one final question for you for it. Now that we have the entire full 204, just tell me the foil. So, shout out to Tata. Now that we do have the full 204 cards, and we haven't, you know, truly dived incredibly deep into it yet, but is there anything that didn't happen in the first chapter that you thought would?
Oh yeah, there's a ton of characters that aren't there.
So, all right, fine. If it's character, I was like, I'm thinking like literally anything. But so it's all right. So it's a character. So, like, what character were you shocked that didn't show up?
Snow White.
Okay.
Bambi.
I mean, is there any real hint of Bambi?
No.
Yeah, like, so I'm like more shocked that like Winnie the Pooh didn't come.
Oh yeah, that's fair too.
Just because like
there is Tigger, so I guess that's
like
fair.
there's Tigger and there's, you know, and there, you know, so like, you know,
that's fair.
But yeah, I don't know. Mechanically, and I'm kind of glad about this. I'm really glad that we didn't get a character that has like quest rush. Because like I was really worried that we were gonna maybe get some type of an ability like that.
I think we will eventually, and I think
we will too. But I was excited that it didn't happen already.
Yeah. I agree.
The answer is
as many booster boxes as you can get.
Yeah, the answer is if you can get them, you should get them. That's the
and you can contact me if
if you can get them,
you're not able
to
yours.
Exactly. You can get them and you can't purchase all that you're allowed to. Scott and I will definitely we'll get in on the deal. 100%. Yeah.
I'm trying to think what like mechanically. I mean, I have a lot of ideas for like the way cards, like different ways that cards will work. I'm surprised that we only got like 3 singers, considering that it was a keyword.
It's only that many, really? Oh,
yeah. I'm surprised that we didn't get any out
how many
of
ward characters did we really get?
two.
It can't be that many.
Yeah, two that I can think of or something like that offhand.
It's Donald,
Oh, three.
technically
Yeah, three.
Aurora, Aladdin.
Oh, more than that. Yeah, that's right. My bad.
What was your
Four.
fourth? What do you got?
Four. The
Who am I missing?
Cusco or whatever.
Oh, Cusco. Yeah. Okay.
But Aurora
four.
gives us all your characters.
Yeah. But yeah, well, and now we can start. There are so many vanilla characters, not enough keywords.
I don't mind that at all.
No, I know.
I really don't at all. I think you're not really in a vanilla character when like that Elsa is not really a vanilla character when she's the only 4/4/4.
She's only 4/4/4, and she has a shiftable target.
Right. So like to me, you're not vanilla and what like the 2/2s for one, they're vanilla.
They're vanilla.
Even the 1/3s for one, there's only two of them. So like they don't they stand out to me as being like unique for their inks. Now, eventually will that set of them finish? Like probably. Will eventually the 2 or 1/1s in every color will probably finish too. Like
for what's worth, I'm glad that we didn't get that.
Right.
And I've said this before. Like I'm glad that there was more creative input. Like because if you have more of those like guaranteed things, then you don't get like Grandma Tala or whatever. Like there's cards like that are interesting and unique. That if you filled out those voids like we thought they might have, we would have lost out on a lot of really interesting characters.
But like Maleficent Uninvited is not vanilla to me.
No, of course
3/6/3 Lord for 5 is not vanilla.
Neither is Maui. It's fine.
Right.
Gigantic.
Right. So like I don't really look at it like that there's quote too many vanillas. I understand like the strategic element of it or whatever, but I just think that there's so much to do in this game on a turn by turn basis that I just don't see it as that big of a deal.
Yeah. Well, I do think that's going to be all for us, unless you have anything left.
I mean, I could talk for hours about different things, but for these,
that's true. So, all right, I'll tell you what. We have a fun party here, but seriously, for Gen Con, right? So next week, there's a very high chance that Scott and I probably won't do a podcast.
We'll probably do live from Gen Con.
Right, we're gonna do live from Gen Con, so we probably won't be live next Tuesday.
No, we won't be live.
So I would plan on like
Thursday.
Probably, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Thursday night after the meetup because we're doing the whole CC meetup. But yeah, we'll have to see. It's a busy weekend. We got dinners booked for Friday and Saturday.
Yeah. We can Airbnb. We can.
And then I'm gonna have to come home and edit like a million things. So it's gonna be fun though. But so Gen Con's next week. I have high ambitions for Gen Con, and not at all from playing Lorcana, but for much more of the having conversations, meeting the faces that we haven't yet, and getting like just some of their opinions. And definitely for me, talking to people after they play in their events and see how they felt about the game live and having interactions and things like that. Because we just, unless you were in Berlin, you didn't experience that yet. So
true.
But yeah, shout out to those guys, man. Imagine that. They had 2 starter decks in their hand for like 10 days. Couldn't tell anybody. Good for them. Oh, Staggy, you coming out? Are you gonna wear the banana suit, bud? Because if you don't have a banana suit, how am I gonna recognize you? Let's be real. Shout out to Hobbies and Happiness. They stream on Friday nights, and last week Staggy was wearing a banana costume. He made everybody laugh. It was great. I had fun. But yeah, we have a lot coming up. A lot of ambition for Gen Con and beyond. And it's been a lot of fun so far, and it happened today. Shout out to all you guys for hanging out. But we did hit 250 subscribers on YouTube today, which is awesome. 50 more where we spin the wheel again. Oh, and this time we're going to give away 2 things of sleeves for unbelievable reasons, but it's okay. So I'll spin the wheel twice when we get to 300. But seriously, thank you guys for all that support. It's been a lot of fun. Dog's got to go for a walk, clearly. And we're going to get out of here because I have to record with Stephanie very shortly. So thank you so much for hanging out with us guys tonight. The chat was awesome. You guys are awesome. If you haven't, for whatever reason, hit that like button for me. If you're hanging out on chat, you're not subscribed, do that as well. And we'll catch you guys live from Gen Con, but also stay tuned because there's a million videos coming this weekend for all sorts of crap. Scott, what's your next plan? What do you got? You're tackling legendaries, right?
I'm going to talk about the legendaries and there'll be a bonus section about the pricing of them, in my opinion.
All right, so we got a bit of finance coming up on legendaries. We have a bunch of the interviews coming for Battle of the Yanks, and I'm sure there's gonna be way more by the end of the weekend. I'll never have enough time to edit everything. We'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out tonight, guys. Good night.
See ya. Thanks.